Great. So I'm going to talk about my experience from running the Journal of Open Humanities data. So by open data, we mean data that is findable, accessible, reusable, freely usable by all. So the papers published by data journals fit in the general research sort of workflow. So we can imagine a pyramid model where we have the sort of the repository where the code in the workflow of the project sits. Then we have the data set produced as part of the research project. And then the data paper describes the data set. And then on top of it, the research paper sort of summarizes the findings of the research, the theoretical implications, and what is sort of traditionally written as the output of a project. So data papers are part of this ecosystem of outputs that a research project produces. So not imagine data papers in competition to research papers, but as complementary to traditional research papers. So the key features of data papers are that they describe a data set, they're open access, they can provide the context of the creation of the data, and they describe the process of creation. They also explain how the data can be reused. So the Journal of Open Humanities Data was founded 10 years ago by Ubiquity Press, a publisher that sort of tries to be very innovative. So we publish two types of papers. The strictly speaking data papers are short descriptions of a specific open data set. And we also have a slightly longer type of paper. We call it discussion papers. They focus on discussing broader issues around accessibility, analysis, storage of humanities data. So why would you say data papers are needed? In fact, we could say, well, it's enough to put your data set in an open repository so that anyone can access it and reuse it. But data papers provide additional value. They provide the contextualization to the data that explains how the data were created, how it can be reused, and they are peer-reviewed. So they are a fully fledged academic output that provides credit, whereas a data set in an open repository hasn't been peer-reviewed typically. So here's the what we call the golden triangle. So we have a data paper that describes a data set, and then we have the research paper that came from the same project. And we can measure the impact of these objects in different ways. So research paper can be measured with citations, data sets impact can be measured with downloads and views, and data papers with citations and also views. So the Journal of Open Humanities Data does not just publish data papers, has a broader mission to be a key part of a thriving community of scholars sharing humanities data. If you've collected, curated cultural, linguistic, historical data in your work, we welcome a data paper that describes this work, particularly if you have clear methods for creating the data, and also you can explain the reuse potential. And publishing a data paper makes your work more visible, citable, reusable, as we've seen. Here's how you can submit a paper. Thank you very much. It is a very real consideration. I mean, you're not the only place in the world where this practice is not very well established. In fact, most places in the world don't have that. So we're not, we're growing as a journal, but we're not huge because there's still it's still a niche thing. I would say we are doing a lot of different initiatives to encourage people and see the benefit. First of all, I forgot to say an important update, which is that the journal now has an impact factor, in addition to be indexed in Scopus, Web of Science, as before. So as of a couple of months ago, we do have an impact factor. So that's a recognition that the journal publishes high quality papers, which is hopefully going to encourage people also to submit, also because it's an incentive for academics to publish in higher impact venues. And we're also going to launch a special collection specifically for language data reuse. And it's in collaboration with Clarin, which is data. The call for paper is going to be published next week or the week after, very soon. So it's again an example of how a repository like Clarion or an infrastructure that also runs repositories has recognized the value of encouraging people to publish data papers, because the special collection is going to specifically focus on how existing data sets can be reused by others. So I encourage you, yes, to sort of keep an eye on what we publish, because there are a lot of good cases for data sets that can be reused. And then, of course, the quantitative analysis that we did also shows that data papers help the visibility of the research. Thank you very much for your attention.